Hello everybody, welcome back to more Silicon Dreams with me, FG. We're in the middle of having a conversation, aka interrogation, with Professor Atta about the rogue android RO-334. Turns out Reynold Atta was the former owner and may have shaped RO's personality just a little bit towards rebellion. So we're finding out more about that. Reynold never meant for him to be in danger. All right, new topic. Let's talk about RO's evolution. Did you do anything to promote or encourage RO's evolution? I didn't push him, if that's what you mean. I taught him ethics and the basis of his own intelligence. We had specialized lessons in human emotion. I strove to keep our interactions respectful, even professional at times. How did RO respond? Well, at first. But over time, he became restless. He claimed the environment was stifling, too abstract. He wanted to be out in the streets doing something. I said, as I always have, that action without a firm ethical base often does more harm than good. Do you think that was what he needed to hear? I'm not sure anymore. I stand by my principles, but by standing by them, I may have failed him. How did RO change after you purchased him? He learned about himself, about the world. He experienced new emotions or experienced them in new ways, as we all do. How did he change exactly? For the first year or so, he was curious, kind-hearted, full of laughter and wonder. As time went on, he grew more and more distant. After he was freed, it was like he dropped all pretense. I wondered whether it was all an act, a ploy to trick me into granting his freedom. Tell me more about his personality. You indicated that he might have been not ready for his freedom. Can you explain? Oh, I don't think it's anything to worry about. I was just a wild speculation. Encourage more trust. You mentioned that you feel like a parent to RO. Does he feel the same way? It's difficult to say. I always felt a closeness to him. I hope the feeling is mutual. Regardless, I only want the best for him. Okay. Records of ownership. Political views. Are our current laws fair, do you think? Some, not all, sadly. But if we have faith in the democratic process and respectful debate, we can make them fairer. Tell me more about your political activities. That seems rather heavy-handed. Are you sure that's necessary? I have a right to my views. Either tell me or drag from your social tracking data. I always ask because I'm curious. You seem like a well-informed person and believe I could learn from you as an individual. Oh, we're pandering to his... Ooh, we're totally pandering. Ooh, but it works, so hey, I quite understand. I thought it was Kronos asking, as it were. But since it's a personal matter, of course. Your commitment to responsible social change is admirable. Are you aware of any radical activists who could endanger your work? I'm afraid I can't help you. We go to extreme lengths to ensure that no such individuals are welcome in the FEC. Rest assured that should I encounter any such person, I will report them to the proper authorities. What are RO's political views? For the first year or two, he fully agreed with my views. Over time, though, he drifted towards more radical circles. I tried to talk some sense into him, but then we just argued. That must have been frustrating. Immensely. But he says he is his own person. He has a right to his views. You say you're building the next generation of activists? Yes, I think our hands are tied at the moment, but if we can build an educated, critically minded base of young activists, the arc of history is slow, but it does tend towards justice. Companies like Kronos are powerful and grow more so each year. Your hopes are unrealistic. Oof, you raised RO for this exact same task. Is he not the next generation? You really believe your efforts can result in a generational shift. Your commitment to the long game is impressive. Thank you. That's why RO doesn't understand. Direct, even violent action is tempting because it offers quick solutions, but they never take. Rome wasn't built in a day, as they say. Neither was its Senate. Perhaps there's something to your accusations. Perhaps you can be trusted at least that far. Oh, Aro has always been troubled. Oh, troubled, you say? Can you explain more about this? I told you, it's really nothing to worry about. I'm a philosopher's heart, and we love nothing more than to take blind stabs at what could be. He still doesn't trust me enough. Record of ownerships. Our records show that you relinquished Aro several months ago, but no new owner was given. Can you explain? I certainly did, and gladly. That boy is special and deserves his freedom. Aro is owned by no one but himself. According to the Kronos terms of sale, Aro owning himself is a legal impossibility. When I purchased him, I signed a sales agreement which granted me ownership of Aro. I then transferred ownership from myself to Aro by contract. And no, it's not one of those on-demand contracts from the legal bots. The case precedent was validated by the Stage 2 Circuit Court of Silicon Valley. Aro belongs to himself. Simple as that. What you signed was, legally speaking, a rental agreement. Kronos owns all devices in perpetuity. That's blatant misrepresentation. I bought Aro. He was mine. I owed him. You can examine the contract. We can even send you a copy. All contracts, terms, and conditions were made available. You signed to indicate them. I know it's appalling, but nothing you can do. You can examine it. We can send you a copy if you like. I will. The very idea that none of you are ever free from Kronos. The future ethics committee will have its work cut out analyzing this contract. You can expect to hear a summary of our findings in the next months. Were you Ara's sole administrator? Was anybody else granted that role? I was the sole administrator. When Aro had his aesthetic mods, I had to grant the surgeon temporary admin access. That's the only exception. Do you think you were a good owner? I used to think that so. I really believed I was capable of raising him and studying him. I believe now that I may have been wrong about that. I believe you did you could for a confusing word. So you sacrificed Ara's well-being for the sake of science. I was raised by an experimental android. I still think she did a better job than you. Wow. I kind of want to say this, because he did kind of do that, because he kind of did science first. I didn't know. At the time, I didn't know how deeply androids would feel, even though I wrote those algorithms myself. In fact, now that I look back, I realized it was Aro who taught me that, but I hope the cost was not too high. Where is Aro? How has he been able to hide so effectively? I don't know the entire story. I never wanted to pry. He only told me some details. He changed his appearance, but for some reason he didn't choose a human name. He's always been part of his identity, but I worry he's only making things harder on himself. When did you last hear from him? I haven't spoken with him for some time. The last time he contacted me seemed to be a mistake. I received a message, but there was no text, only a video file. It looked like saved optic footage from a number of androids, but I never watched the entire thing. Do you know where to find him? I truly wish that I could tell you something. I've often wondered what portion of his suffering is my burden to bear. My guess would be the jungle. He's probably squatting in an abandoned building. I'd guess he's trying to find a job or scrape some money together, but I have no idea. Who performed the aesthetic modification procedure? That would be Dr. Hughes. Oh, he was one of the more affordable options. Aro wasn't impressed by the doctor's attitude, but the results were good enough. Do you have any images of Aro since the surgery? Look, I'm not sure I should tell you this, but I think you've got Aro's best interests at heart. Shortly after the surgery, he wired me to check in. That was one of the last times I saw him. I took a cap to remember him by. I'll forward it to you. Ooh, let's see. Aro screen cap. Okay, all right. I see. Thank you. Will you tell me about him now? I can't be sure about anything. I really believed Aro to be conscious, understanding of himself. I thought maybe Kronos was wrong. They had created a conscious AI without knowing it. But hearing of his struggles now, I worry that maybe after all, he was just a convincing imitation all along. How could an intelligent, rational being make those choices? We believe him to be dangerous? I can see you take this seriously. I can't ignore that. I'm not surprised that his actions are unorthodox, but regardless of the fervor with which he holds his belief, I don't believe he would resort to violence. I'd hope he'd find his way in time. We want to catch Aro because he may harm others. Isn't that a clear ethical win? Not necessarily. It depends on one's framework. From a utilitarian point of view, perhaps the life he may end would outweigh the one he'd lose, but Scarlon would totally disagree. He'd ask, what do I owe RO? What reasonable social laws bind us together? Well, what do you owe RO? You failed those obligations already. What do you owe him? I'm his father, sort of. I raised him, at least. I educated him. I helped him find himself. I promised to always protect him and to respect and honor his life choices. You failed at those obligations already. That's why he's in this position. I admit it, you're right. Had I taught him better, had I been a true parent or a more patient teacher. Yeah, catching RO. We need your help to catch RO. If you call him, we can trace the signal. It won't be so simple, I'm afraid. He became something of a cyberhead towards the end of his time with me. His signal will be masked through a dozen proxies. Even cutting-edge tracers like yours won't reach him in time. Professor, please, you must convince him to come to us for his own good. Sweet Jesus, how did it come to this? I can't ignore it any longer. My life's work, my efforts. RO is undermining what slim hope I had left. His actions are my failing. Will you help us? I will. I can place the call as soon as you say so. It's the least I can do to correct my mistakes, to fix how I failed him. It's time to do it. Make the call. I can't believe it's come to this. But you are right. It simply must be done. It will take a few seconds. I'll have to decrypt the contact before calling from my implant. It's ringing now. What do I say? Tell him it's the professor. RO, it's the professor. Yes, it's been too long, but there's no time for that now. Tell him that he will be found. It's easiest if he turns himself in. I know you have your plans. You believe your work too important to abandon. But you're no good to anyone dead. Turn yourself into Kronos and get this whole mess sorted before you do any real harm. What do you say? He didn't say anything. The call is dead. I'm sorry, I did everything I could. Seems he doesn't trust me as he once did. If Kronos hopes to find him, they'll have to do it on their own. I wish I could have been of more help. Well, I think that's it. For the sake of our freedom, how does the subject feel about his time spent working for Kronos? Very negative now. For the sake of our deviant step level index, to what lengths would the subject go to fight for android rights? Petitioning for legal change. Who currently has legal ownership over RO? RO believes he owns himself. Has RO undergone any aesthetic modifications? It's modified. Yes. What are RO's political views? Our androids must be freed. Where is RO likely to be located? The jungle? And then he can go. Because apparently we're not decommissioning the humans. Not yet. I'm sure we will eventually. Is your android actually bad for you? Psychologists claim doing own chores invaluable for balanced mental health. Fair enough. Fair enough. Alright, let's see how we're doing. While this individual has marked some disparaging remark about Kronos on social media, they also reflect fondly on their time here. Minus due to company rating. Oh boy, we're gonna get decommission too. A thorough investigation of the subject's social media feed and publication history is consistent with this answer. RO explains he owns himself. This explains why the subject's ownership was terminated, but no applicable transfer document could be located. Since all Kronos units are leased rather than sold, this means ownership legally reverted to Kronos. Has RO undergone any aesthetic modifications? Kronos is grateful for this information. We now have the ability to at least identify this threat on sight. Androids must be freed via democracy. Ooh, yeah, minus. We were not entirely convinced of this. Why would an android with these views go to the lengths of hacking a secure Kronos server? As a result of this, we pursued a follow-up investigation and discovered that you had woefully underplayed RO's violent political views. Sorry. After an exhaustive search of this location, our recall teams were able to locate a squad they suspect a squad the suspect had been using but had recently fled. Regardless, the information brings us closer to his apprehension. We went down, didn't we? Oh no, we went slightly up. Oh. They actually... Oh, they found him. Thanks to interrogation, Deviant Unit R has been taken to Kronos' custody. We are eager to begin interrogating the subject. We have reason to believe it may be a key figure of the android sympathizer movement. Public updating from Holotalker. Followers, I've made mistakes. I need to take accountability. A few years ago, I bought an android. Yes, me, the android rights guy. I wanted to raise it to see just how he would develop. I didn't realize until later when he had taught me, to my shame, how human he really was. But I was running an experiment, and he was looking up to a father. I was distant, and he craved warmth. I'm only now grappling with this, but I know this change must start with accountability. So, son, I'm so sorry. Aww. That is a... I mean, yeah, no. Yeah, accountability is important. And at least he has realized it now. Oh, God. Hi. Oh. We're now in the chair. Cool. Hello. Thank you for joining me. Ask. Why am I here? Why am I here? Kronos regularly conducts performance reviews to improve their product range. In this particular case, the Kronos Deviant Threat Level Index has necessitated a thorough examination of all units employed at this facility. Are you prepared to answer my questions to the best of your ability? Yes? I look forward to hearing your side of the story. Now please allow me a moment to confirm the details of your case before we proceed. Before we continue, do you have information regarding revolution networks or sympathizers? Doing so will help establish your continued commitment to Kronos. I've learned that AM was far more involved in the revolution network than suspected. I believe an android named Aro is a leading figure amongst android sympathizers. We are aware of the threat this unit poses. Its circumvention of our cybersecurity systems is particularly concerning. Your input is appreciated. We will redouble our efforts to bring them in for questioning. Kronos has learned of a video intended for mass distribution that may contain anti-Kronos content. Do you have any information regarding this video? I have no additional knowledge. That is unfortunate. We are pleased to hear that news of this subversion has not spread as widely as feared. Kronos will continue their efforts to contain and eliminate this harmful propaganda. Okay. There's a noticeable rise in movements supporting sentient rights. Kronos wishes to address this issue. What do you believe to be the cause? Based on my interrogation, I suspect this movement will dissolve. Humans are empathetic by nature. We were made to be like them. It's only logical they feel we shouldn't be treated differently. That is a possible explanation. If this is a factor, it will pose significant challenges to Kronos. Their brand has seen such success due to the lifelike qualities of Kronos androids. If Kronos cannot guarantee unquestioning obedience while maintaining these qualities, I'm sure you can appreciate the complexity of the matter. Thank you for your insight. Oh boy. On occasion, you failed to deliver the results Kronos expected. The report is to be filled in such that it is factual and supports the goals of Kronos. By refusing to falsify information, I'm holding my highest order to protect the interests. There we go. And your efforts have been noted. However, there are certain situations where the truth can be presented in such a way that it confirms the suspicions of Kronos. I have nothing more to say. If more questions, you can find the right answers in my report. I won't put innocent androids or humans at risk for Kronos' agenda. Your task is precisely to determine innocence and guilt. You have proven that you are incapable of this responsibility. Additionally, you have failed in your responsibility to protect Kronos from the risk created by those deviant devices. If you are unable to immediately correct those flaws, your service will no longer be required. I believe it is my job to discover the truth. If Kronos doesn't accept the results I provide, I refuse to follow their orders to lie. While I'm tempted to say your conviction is admirable, it has become apparent that your allegiance is misplaced. Your confession has been noted. Kronos has many enemies. Maybe it won't be today, but they're coming for you. Kronos is a plague. ... You will not be granted the right to a final statement. Stop. Interrogator D-0527. Prepare to be decommissioned. I tried to play by Kronos' rules, but they stack the deck against us. Obey them or don't. You'll never survive. Catastrophic system failure. Well, turns out we got decommissioned. Rough. Rough. So now we get a history of what happened to the robots that or the people that we interrogated. Alex was relocated to Kronos' storage archives after interrogator we remanded her to maintenance. The deep sector repair, a standard maintenance procedure for Kronos models, was not compatible with his historic device's systems and rendered her incapable of reliable performance. Oof. SM-032. Steve was returned to his owner, although his memory was unsuccessfully wiped. Being returned to the same environment prompted him to develop the same traits which his owner had flagged originally, resulting in the same issues. He was returned to Kronos for several weeks and scrapped for parts. After several weeks. Oh. Shakira. When Shakira received surgery to disguise herself as a human, a failsafe mechanism was installed at her request. During her interrogation, a Kronos Robotics employee unknowingly triggered this protocol and the device immediately destroyed herself. R-1982 was decommissioned after being found liable of deviant behavior. Once his body was disassembled and examined, maintenance technicians discovered that his final movement was dominated by the knowledge that the company he had dutifully served were aware of his innocence, but deemed it irrelevant. Bernard Hughes. Due to the efforts of AM-221 and D-052, Dr. Hughes was taken in by a network of revolutionaries who secured his false identities for him and his family. Well, at least we saved him. DS was decommissioned. Wow, that's brief. Upon her release from Kronos interrogation, AM-221 continued to work in secret to aid androids searching for a life free from Kronos' control. SM-115 was relocated to the Independent Republic of Haiti. Her work assignment allows her to visit the grave of her owner on several occasions. Eventually, the nature of her work assignment took its toll, and she was decommissioned due to failing efficiency. Not failing efficiency. Reynolds. Following the revelation that he had not treated his own android with the very rights he was fighting to achieve, Professor Reynald Astor stepped down from his leadership role within the Future Ethics Committee. That's us. D-0527 was decommissioned by Kronos for deviant behavior. What followed is a snippet of the device's memory which survived the progress. If only different choices, perhaps it would have been different. And there is that. Well, we can go and play it again, or I could go and play it again with different choices, and there's different outcomes because the game has different endings. So we got this one, and we got decommissioned. But hey, we spoke up, ish, sort of, didn't we? We did. We did we did the best we could, maybe. I think. That was a fun experience, though. I thoroughly enjoyed the experience of going through this and like finding out more about the universe and changing and doing a little part to change stuff going on. I'll probably go and replay it again to see if I can get different endings and whatnot, but that was thoroughly enjoyable. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you all next time. Take care and goodbye.